The final main section of the policy is the weekly benefits. So that's things like if you're off work for more than 14 days, you can claim up to $500 a week, or 85% of your average weekly income, for 104 weeks. So for a lot of people, it's not going to cover your full wage, but it should provide at least a top up to that. You have to claim it after you've exhausted your sick leave. But yeah, it's 85% of your average weekly income, up to a maximum of $500 a week for 104 weeks from the date of injury, except you can't claim for that first 14 days. If you're a non-income earner, you can claim domestic home help. So it's the cost of hiring someone in to perform those domestic duties that you might be incapacitated from doing, and again, up to $200 a week reimbursement for those if they're certified necessary by a doctor, and you can claim that for 26 weeks. Same if you're a student and you need a home tutor that's medically certified, you can claim $200 towards that for 26 weeks. There are also additional benefits. There's a whole list of these. Some of the more common ones are out-of-pocket expenses for your travelling to treatment and things like that. Your clothing expenses. So if clothing's damaged and it's medically necessary, so say you have to have your boots cut off if you broke your ankle, you can claim $500 towards those if the damage was deemed necessary by a medical practitioner. Emergency accommodation if for family members, overseas medical. So if you're competing or riding overseas and you are injured over there, there's $5,000 to any medical expenses that you incur overseas, and a funeral benefit as well on top of the capital benefit to reimburse you for cost of funerals. There's also other expenses, other additional benefits on top of those that are contained within the policy. There's about another 10 benefits. So I suppose to take you through a quick claims example, so you've got a rider who falls at a local jumping event, is taken to hospital with a broken leg, so then transferred into private hospital for 1 week. Ongoing treatment would be physiotherapy, crutches hire, and 6 weeks off work. Obviously on top of that there'd be surgery and doctor's treatment. So from that, we come to your private, your specialist treatment, your surgeon, your x-ray. They're things that would be covered partly or wholly by Medicare. We can't cover the gap, as I said. Other things that can be claimed would be your private hospital accommodation. If it was $220 a day for the 7 days, comes to $1,540. Your $600 theatre costs, $300 ambulance ride, $200 for crutches. It comes to $2,640, those expenses. As I said, you can claim 85% of those, so that gets limited. Your physio benefits are calculated at 95% for the first 5 visits, and then it's a sliding scale down from there. You can claim them until you return to riding, so until you're fit to return to riding. So that's $200, 5 visits at $40 a visit, comes to $190. Then you take the $100 excess off all those, comes out with a total non-Medicare medical expenses payment of $2,434. You can then claim your 6 weeks minus your first 14 days, so basically 4 weeks loss of income at the maximum $500 a week. It's another $2,000. So you get to $4,434 for that claim. Obviously, it's not going to reimburse the entire cost of your injury in a lot of cases, but it should contribute towards it significantly. There's obviously those other benefits. So if you did have your clothing cut off or something like that that was done by paramedics or the doctor when you got to hospital, then that could be claimed on top of that as well. The next sections, which are quite prevalent for coaches, are the public and products liability, and professional indemnity. Again, you've got the 2 groups of insured, very similar, just slightly different. This one includes members of affiliated clubs. Your personal accident policy only covers your direct members for their injury. The public and products liability extends to cover club members for their liabilities if there was an incident where they were legally liable at a club event. So again, where there were 3 tiers or 3 areas where cover was provided before, there's now 5. So the national body and the state branches are covered. Your direct members are covered again as part of their membership. EA coaches yourselves are covered for your coaching activities. The clubs have cover under this policy, as do the members of the clubs whilst they're engaged in their club equestrian activities. So the public and products liability section is $20 million cover, any one occurrence for the public liability, any one period of insurance for products liability. So public liability is your personal injury or property damage as a result of your negligence for any act. Your products liability would be for any of your legal liability for the products you sell. If someone was got food poisoning from a dodgy sausage roll at one of the clubs or something like that, and they turned around and sued, or if a club provided someone with a helmet that was defective, or they sold a helmet that was defective, and they were brought into an action on that. That's the kind of thing that could be claimed. $100,000 for property in care, custody, and control. So if as a coach you were taking someone's, you had control of someone's horse, and the horse itself was injured, then that's something where that could kick in if they were to take action against you. And this is $2,500 deductible. So an example under the public liability section, say during a cross-country event, a rider was injured at a water jump, there's a protruding object coming out from one of the jumps, and they took action against the club, then that's the kind of thing where they might turn around and take action. Another one would be, coming back to the product liability, if a spectator purchased some equipment or a dodgy sausage roll at the canteen and turned around and sued, they'd take a scattergun approach, they'd sue the manufacturer, they'd sue whoever sold it to them, probably sue whoever else they could, whoever else their lawyers told them to try and get money out of. The club would be covered under that policy. Professional indemnity covers your advice, basically, that you're giving. So if you were, for a coaching example, if you advise someone to ride in a certain way, or were conducting a lesson and you instructed someone to ride in a particular way, they fell off and were injured and turned around and blamed you and took legal action against you, then it would cover your defence costs and your liability for damages there. So it's an example of